And Mark Kelso, the one and only Mark, former Bill and always a Buffalo Bill, is the color commentator on the radio games. Love listening on the radio, Mark. Sometimes I turn you on and turn down the TV.
We appreciate that.
Yeah,
we appreciate that. That's the way life was meant to be.
It is the way it was meant to be. All right. So, okay, tough game. I got to tell you, it just wasn't when you look out there, you don't see the same team. A lot of people out, a lot of players out this past week. What's your assessment of this past weekend?
Well, I mean, they didn't play their best football. There's no question about that. But the Miami Dolphins, their performance the other day kind of belied their record a little bit, and they played well against the Steelers, and they played well against us, and they've got a lot of their people back. I mean, they had some injuries that they were trying to work through, and I think that's what caused them to suffer some losses early in the season, and they think they're healthy. So the Bills are now, trying to struggle through that situation, and without the services of Robert Woods and LaShawn McCoy, it didn't seem like he was 100%.
Yeah.
A lot's been made of that, but I mean, a lot of times you have to rely on the player. I mean, you can't see inside his leg to see if his hamstring's okay. I mean, you assess it and you try to figure out what's going on, and you say, if you think he can go, and of course they need him, so it would have been good to have his services, but he didn't have the extra gear that he typically has, so the running game didn't perform like it needed to, and defensively, I mean, they struggled, stopping Ajayi, and he was great all afternoon, and hit the cutback lane, and they were doing a good job blocking it. It's not like you say the defense was awful. It just there were little things, and one time it might have been a defensive lineman in the wrong spot. One time it's a cornerback not coming up with force. One time it's a linebacker that gets cut off by the backside tackle. So it was a whole collection of things that resulted in a loss, which was very unfortunate because I think they had an opportunity to win it, and they weren't able to close it out.
And I got to tell you, Miami looked like Miami in the last couple of minutes because they just basically they extended the game with just stupid fouls and personal fouls at that. It was just ridiculous. Okay, let's focus forward. This weekend, big one with Brady back and the Patriots.
Yeah, and has gotten the ball to Gronkowski in the last couple of weeks as well, and so he started to come back and regain his excellence, and he's typically given the Bills a difficult time as it is, and they've got some tough matchups because him and Martellus Bennett on the other side. I mean, they create big problems. The running game has been pretty good. I actually think they run that stretch play as well with the LeGarrette Blount, the same play that gave the Bills some problems last week against Miami. I don't think they run it quite as effectively, and LeGarrette Blount's a little different runner than Ajayi is. I mean, he's more of an inside guy, and he'll hit the corner. He'll take it if it's available, but he's not going to try to go around the outside because he doesn't quite have that acceleration. But they've got a great mix, and anytime you have Tom Brady, I mean, he only needs a sliver of space between a defensive back and a receiver, and he'll fit the football in. And then they're all about personnel matchups, so they're going to extend guys outside. They're going to go with no backs in the backfield, an empty set. They're going to put running backs out there. James White's going to be out there, or Brandon Bolden, and they're going to put those guys out there, and they're going to expect your linebackers to cover them. So if you're going to play man defense, they're going to attack those things, and you've got to be really sharp. You've got to make them drive 12 or 13 plays if they're going to score, and you can't give up big plays against this team because they're not going to give up a lot of points. And you've just got to play really clean football if you expect to come out with a victory.
I want to add one more thing before we let you go, and that is Taylor. It didn't have his best game, certainly, this past week. But I believe what was positive for me, and I'd like your opinion on it, is really a lot of pressure was put on Taylor in this game because we didn't have the strength that we've had in weeks previous. I love we as a Buffalo Bills fan, I have to say. But Taylor didn't crumble under the pressure. Talk about that, and do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I think he has really good leadership qualities. I mean, he's a young man who really prepares well for the game, and again, I think he's still learning the game. There's a lot of high expectations for him, and as there should be. He was rewarded with a nice contract this year after his performance last year and stuff that went on early in the preseason. But I think he's a good leader. I think he's got a lot of intangibles that quarterbacks need to have. I mean, he stands in the pocket. He's got a lot of poise when he's in the pocket. He doesn't get flustered. He can escape. He can move subtly in the pocket to try to create more space. I mean, sometimes, obviously, the height issue becomes a problem because you can't see over some of those guys. So something that somebody else might see, a fan in the stands or me in the booth might see a guy open downfield. He might not have the same sight line, so that's not available to him. But he throws a good ball. He throws a good deep ball as we were, as we saw again last week. And I think he has all the tools that he needs. And and some people would say, well, is he a quarterback that could take the team, carry the team on their back? Well, there's not very many of those guys, and I still think it remains to be seen whether Tyrod can do that. I think he has that capability, but again, he's only played 20 or 21 games in his NFL career, so let's let him grow a little bit and grow into that position. But if you had to count on all the quarterbacks in the league that could take their team to the playoffs without a healthy running game, you're limited to about 5 or 6 quarterbacks in this league. So he needs it, and that's what makes an offense work, when you have good balance and you have a healthy running game and a good play action pass game to complement that. So I think he can do it, but certainly you need to have a solid running game to be able to complement his skill set.
Yeah. And man, is he hard to tackle! Holy moly, that's
indeed he is. Yeah, he has some magic in him, and there's no question about that.
All right, Mark Kelso, as always, thanks so much. Go Bills, Patriots this weekend. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Yeah, have a great day, everyone.
You too, man. Mark Kelso.